Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a clip of a fat activist claiming that being fat is actually healthier for some people. They're also going to be going on a tirade about the BMI. I'm sorry that this shirt is so bright that it's burning directly into your retinas. If you want to support the channel, please consider joining channel memberships. For $5 a month, you'll get a badge next to your name, access to custom emojis, as well as top priority in my comment replies. A join button is below, as well as a join link in the description. And links to all my other socials are down there as well. Before we proceed, please click the like button so that I may apply comb to mustache. Alright, she's going to be responding to this comment that says, explain how being fat is healthy. I'm all ears for this as well.
I would love to explain this to you, but not just because you told me to, but because everyone else should understand how the terms obese and obesity came into the picture.
Okay, so you're going to explain it, not because this person asked, but because others need to know. That's very mature.
And how unnecessary it is. Something that a very quick Google search can do is give you a lot of articles explaining this instead of asking a fat creator to explain it on TikTok.
Okay, you must be selectively filtering out the results of your Google search there. A quick Google search can also yield us the following results. I see, this is from some website called, what is it, cdc.gov? Yeah, I don't know if this is legitimate or not, but it says, adult obesity facts. Obesity is a common, serious, and costly disease. Obesity-related conditions include heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. These are among the leading causes of preventable, premature death. Why does it say preventable? You can't control your weight, you idiots. So it's just interesting that my Google search yielded that, and yours yielded some nonsense from fluffykittenparty.org. Or was it .com? By the way, why are you wearing like a baby's onesie and there's like baby music playing in the background? Listen.
I chose a random article, like I didn't even fully read through it, but the very first line...
You didn't choose a random article, you sifted through countless pages to find one page that actually supports your hypothesis. 99% of everything else told you that obesity is bad for you.
Is, despite having a bad reputation in the wellness world, body fat is important for your health too.
Body fat is important for your health. The correct amount of body fat, not being morbidly obese.
And it is, so let me tell you why. The very start of this says that in 2005, a scientist at the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention published findings regarding the terms like overweight, obesity, going over the BMI, and just everything along those lines. Something that this article touches on a lot is the BMI. That's your body mass index.
Please give us a link to this article.
That is just a measurement of body fat based on your height and weight. So that does not account for any sort of muscle or anything else that's in your body.
What? It just takes your height and your weight, dude. Of course it doesn't take muscle into account, and it doesn't also assume that all of your weight is fat. So the BMI is illegitimate because it doesn't take your muscle mass into account. Well, like I've said before, if the BMI says that you're obese, and you look down and you see a bunch of muscles instead and like a ripped six-pack, you're not obese. It was wrong. I think people that are into bodybuilding would know this, right? So it's not like the BMI is out there confusing people. A bodybuilder steps on the scale and he's like, what the hell? According to these calculations, I'm obese. But I am insanely jacked. How could this be? What? I think they would just be like, oh yeah, because I'm not fat like the average person. This is actually muscle. 0.00001% of people who are in the obese category of the BMI are bodybuilders. The rest, they're actually fat. Really not that hard to tell. She's like, this BMI test is completely illegitimate. Get me a DEXA scan. I don't think the DEXA scan would give you any different result, honestly. What do you think is better? The calipers? Should we bust out the calipers on you? Some people, the calipers don't even go wide enough, right? Like if you go to open the caliper to measure your roll or whatever and it just breaks from opening it too wide, I think there's your sign. There's your answer.
Just your body fat. So it was not supposed to be used like that.
No, it was supposed to be used like that. Height by weight. The average person does not have an excess of 50 pounds to 100 pounds of muscle. It's almost always fat. I'm not saying there aren't people that are super buff. There are, but This is not at all relevant.
And not applied to individuals as it is today. It also states regarding the BMI that in 1998, the National Institutes of Health moved the overweight and obesity cutoff points down, so that included 25 million more Americans to be considered obese or overweight.
That reminds me of that video I made about Fierce Fatty complaining about that. What's interesting is that all the people that bring up this new cutoff would have been considered obese by the old standards as well. Just because they didn't think that you were obese before and then they changed the cutoff recently doesn't mean it's illegitimate.
So that's already a scam.
It's a scam because they changed the guidelines for what is considered obese? No, they just fixed their mistake.
So to move into exactly how fat can be healthy, and being fat can be better for some people.
How fat? We talking like 10 pounds of adipose tissue? 80 pounds of adipose tissue?
The first thing that it tells you in this article is that it stores energy and insulates the body in cold weather. This body fat also includes fat-soluble vitamins.
It's also hormonally active, so if there's an excess of it, you will have an excess of androgens, and all of your hormones will be thrown out of whack.
So it lists vitamin A, E, D, and K, which is part of why fatty foods like avocados and nuts are now considered healthy.
Okay, is it healthy to drink a gallon of vegetable oil?
One of the points that a lot of people keep commenting on my videos is that being fat can lead to a higher risk for diseases like diabetes, heart disease, heart failure. But what they don't understand is there are a lot of things that being fat can actually help fight against.
So you just completely gloss over all those. So a lot of people have told you that being fat can lead to a higher risk for diseases like diabetes, heart disease. But what they don't understand is that it helps a lot of things too. So you didn't negate any of that stuff. A lot of people say that being fat causes a heart attack, diabetes, and stroke. But what they don't understand is that it also keeps you warm in the pool and helps you float. Okay, but it still causes those other really, really bad things though, right? Because you just glossed over those. You didn't even try to debate them. Yeah, heart attacks suck and everything, but you ever been cold? You ever been cold before? Fat keeps you warm.
Being fat can actually help fight against.
Can it fight against diabetes, heart attack, or stroke?
One of the first things on the list is that more fat equals more muscle.
What? How does more fat equal more muscle? These are two very different types of tissue, and one of them actually requires work to build.
It says that bigger people tend to be stronger than thin people.
Carrying around excess weight will make your legs stronger. Sure, you can go to the gym and get strong legs without carrying around an excess of 200 pounds 24/7. I could go do the leg press a few times, or I could carry around 200 pounds on my body 24/7. That'll really give me a good workout. You guys aren't even into fitness. I'm actually way more into fitness than the rest of you because I'm over here carrying weight 24/7. You guys are amateurs.
According to research, and it
What research?
does give you a link to take you to that research as well.
You take me to that research and you explain it to me in simple words that everyone can understand. Otherwise, you don't understand it yourself.
But it just goes over that fat people can be better at strength exercises.
Can be better at strength exercises. Not better than somebody who works out all the time.
Like weightlifting. I am not saying all fat people are super strong or that all fat people are stronger than thin people, but again, this video is just explaining how fat is not unhealthy.
You just said a bunch of anecdotal nonsense about like being warm and how there's vitamins in fat. You did not explain how being fat is not unhealthy. You just said it might be useful in these certain situations. That didn't negate all the serious health consequences that come from being obese. Dude, I'm not sure what the point of this video is. Quit playing dumb. Or are you not playing?
The next thing on this list is that fat offers protection from injuries.
It also causes injuries. When you go to walk up a flight of stairs and your balance is all thrown off because you have all this extra weight pulling you back and to the side and to the front and all these other wacky directions that are not supposed to be pulled in. Have you ever tried to ride a unicycle as a morbidly obese individual?
So it says that having a higher BMI, which keep in mind, that's just the measure of body fat.
No, it's the measure of your height and weight. When they say if you're 140 pounds at the height of 5'6", you'll have this much body fat. That assumes that there's muscle in there too. The BMI wouldn't even make any sense if it didn't take some sort of muscle into account, right? If it just assumed that everyone was 100% fat and it measured only fat, that would be moronic and wouldn't make any sense.
Depending on your weight and height. But that can offer protection from injury in some cases,
Okay.
like car crashes. Some overweight people have had less severe injuries in a crash than thin people.
Some overweight people have had less severe injuries in a crash than thin people. Okay, some thin people have had less severe injuries in a crash than overweight people. The word some is really meaningless in this context because there's some people on the other side too. Some overweight people fall out of bed and require a team of 4 people to help them get back up, like we've seen on My 600-Pound Life. All of these moronic arguments fall apart when you ask one of these people to do the simplest physical task. All that research that you told me about and all these facts that you gave me is all good and well. But walk up a flight of stairs. Go on. For literally 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Walk up a flight of stairs.
But the research that they have can be mixed on that, but that is a possibility of how being fat can be helpful.
The research is mixed on that, but it's a possibility. Everything's a possibility, bro. It's possible that I'll sprout wings out of my back and take flight to the skies like a beautiful angel. Highly unlikely, though.
I'm going to read this next paragraph verbatim. It's regarding fat and fitness. It says, it's clear that fat isn't the enemy and can even be a perk in some cases. But bottom line, there's no need to be thinner or fatter in order to be healthy.
Well, if you're obese, then yeah, you probably want to get rid of that obesity to be healthy. And if you are underweight, then you do want to get fatter to be healthy. So that's a really stupid statement.
You can be healthy at any size.
Tell that to Eugenia Cooney.
While the reverse is also true. One study found out that almost half of overweight people were metabolically healthy, while 30%...
Excuse me, can you repeat that?
Metabolically.
Metabolically? Metabolically?
Metabolically. Half of overweight people were metabolically healthy, while 30% of normal people were not.
Your metabolic rate changes based on your level of activity and the way that you eat. You hear all these people being like, yeah, he's got a fast metabolism. I just got a slow metabolism, blah, 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 blah. If you have a slow metabolism, it's because you've been sitting around doing nothing all day. Coincidentally, people that have a fast metabolism are always moving around. They're not always moving around because they have a fast metabolism. They have a fast metabolism because they're always moving around.
So it doesn't depend on what your size is. So basically, to sum everything up, it's not necessarily being fat that is healthy or unhealthy.
Coming from somebody that's morbidly obese, this information is very useful.
Having fat on your body can be healthy.
Obviously, having some fat on your body is ideal and healthy. You don't want to just be a skeleton. That's also unhealthy.
But depending on your diet and everything else in your life, it can make things unhealthy.
Yeah, a bad diet will put excess adipose on you, which is unhealthy. That's correct.
So it is not just being fat.
Yeah, it's also the crappy food that made you that way.
One last thing that maybe not everyone knows is that centuries ago, when you had body fat, when you were actually bigger, it meant that you were wealthier.
Okay, well, not anymore, homie. Today, rich people are in good shape and take good care of themselves, so they can continue to enjoy that money. Today, ironically, it's mostly poor people that are overweight because they're eating super cheap garbage food.
Because you actually had the money to afford the food that you could eat. So, I'm not sure exactly when everything shifted with that.
I'm not sure when everything shifted with that. Back in the day, wealthier people could be larger. They had to eat ridiculous amounts of real food to get to that size. I can go to a grocery store right now and go to the bread and baked goods aisle and buy like $30 worth of nonsense that will put a ton of fat on me. It is not a sign of wealth to be obese anymore. This is a bizarre tirade. Back in the day, you would have been admired for being obese.
That's just another thing to keep in mind. Now, I'm not sure exactly where everyone else lives, of course, who's been commenting on my videos, but I live in America, and I grew up in a very broken system.
You grew up in a very broken system. Much more broken than the rest of us Americans grew up in, apparently. My system was fine. Hers was broken, and it made her gain all this weight. I gained all the weight before by myself by making stupid dietary choices, But for her, it's because of a broken system. Gotcha. Yeah, I hate our system in this country where somebody just comes along and shoves food in your mouth against your will. Oh wait, that doesn't happen. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, I've been saying that for years. It's really annoying how you go to the store and you're trying to go to the aisle with all the healthy food, but somebody comes along and just shoves you right into the bakery. Could you guys stop doing that? Damn this system and all this stuff that is not my fault. What is your fault, by the way, just out of curiosity? What aspects of you are within your control, I guess would be an easier question. Do you get to control what kind of clothes you put on, or how many piercings you get, or what kind of glasses you wear, or there's some sort of system in place making you do all that stuff too?
No one really has the tools or maybe even the energy or knows where to start with teaching you how to manage your body.
Dude, you were able to Google a bunch of lies about how being fat is not your fault and it's actually good for you and all this stuff, but you couldn't Google some simple information about weight loss? We lack the tools. Google's right there. And it's funny because you tried to berate that person for asking you a question. You're like, you could just Google this in 5 seconds. I don't know why you have to come to a fat creator. And then here you are saying, I don't know how to do anything. We don't have access to information this day and age. That's the problem. In 2023, we got no information access. You know, except for maybe the largest collection of human knowledge that's ever existed, the internet. I heard they got a lot of stuff on that internet.
Every single person is different. Everyone can comment whatever they want on my videos because I don't care.
Don't care enough to make this video.
But those words can be hurting someone else.
Right. I'm so sick of seeing that excuse. That's like saying you censor your comments for the benefit of other fat people. They don't need to see that. It wasn't for me. If you got butthurt at somebody's comment and you deleted it, just say you got butthurt at somebody's comment and you deleted it. Which, by the way, means that you lose in the rules of the internet. If you have to block somebody, they got to you and you felt all kinds of emotions. Ha!
I am fat. I have body fat. I have a lot of body fat.
Okay.
That's just me. I do not have a long list of diseases that I'm dealing with.
How old are you? Brandy Mallory comes to mind, who I recently made a video about, who passed at age 40. There are several others that passed before the age of 40 or shortly after 40 as well.
It is not something that is prohibiting me from doing things.
Walk up a flight of stairs right now. Go for a ride on a bicycle. Get up off the couch with less than 3 rocks.
I am living my life how I want to live my life because in the end, we all die anyway.
Right. You can die like tomorrow, or you could get another like 50 years out of this whole life thing, depending on how you take care of yourself. Saying that being morbidly obese is fine because in the end we all die anyway works for every other thing, right? May as well do heroin, homie. Like, we all die anyway, I mean, right? May as well do all kinds of stupid substances and hurt ourselves and others because we're gonna die anyway. May as well throw caution to the wind. Screw my life, because one day I won't have it. What?
So you can be mean if you want to.
They just said explain how being fat isn't unhealthy because they knew that you couldn't and they were just trying to find something to laugh at.
But just understand that karma is a thing.
Karma is a thing, and you're gonna get yours for asking this person to explain themselves.
And just go from there, I suppose. If anyone has stayed until the end of this video, I hope you found some useful information, and maybe if you were one of the people that commented very nasty things on other fat creators' TikToks or just on someone who has body fat in general, then maybe you're able to change your opinions or just change the way that you view things.
You literally just said that sometimes body fat can be beneficial because it can protect you from injuries and stuff. And it can keep you warm and there's vitamins in it. That's what you said. What the hell?
And just to everyone, make sure you eat something. It does not matter what it is.
It doesn't matter what it is. Just eat something. Antifreeze is pretty sweet. Should I drink some of that? Or it's able to go in my mouth, so it must be food.
Just make sure that it is something that your body is able to get energy from, because that's all we're doing it for.
Because that's all we're doing it for. No, there's a difference between healthy and unhealthy food. It doesn't all give you energy the same. It doesn't all give you the same energy and burn the same. If I want your results, I'll take your plan.
We're feeding ourselves to get energy from it. So just keep that in mind.
If you were feeding yourself just to get energy, you would be more likely to eat healthy food. But you're not. You're eating for pleasure because it tastes good. That's why you say eat whatever you want, it's all the same, because you're just going after stuff that tastes good. You don't care about energy. You care about getting short-term pleasure at the expense of long-term health and happiness, like anybody else with a substance abuse problem.
Make sure you stay hydrated as well, because that is also very important regardless of body fat. And just much love, regardless of who you are.
Regardless of who I am. Even me? Love for me too? Alright, so that was very strange. Somebody asked them to explain how being fat is healthy, and then they were like, yeah, you know, it could cause a heart attack, stroke, diabetes. But have you heard of all the health benefits? So they didn't even negate all those negative things. They just tried to pile on some positive things on top of the negative things. Sure, you'll have a heart attack, but you'll be warmer. Sure, you'll get diabetes, but there's vitamin A, E, and K in adipose tissue. Sure, you'll have a heart attack, but back in the day, being fat meant that you were wealthy. Okay, you didn't negate anything. That was weird. So what do you think of all the claims that this person made? Leave a comment below. Happy Thursday, everyone. Anyway, that about does it. Thanks for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one.
But I don't wanna miss you, baby.